NYC Prepper here. Hope you're all having a great day. It's 9/11 today, and I remember where I was during 9/11. I was right down there, and I saw the whole thing. I saw the buildings go down. I saw when it was just hit initially, and back then, I used to work as a jeweler down in the Bowery or near Canal Street. Actually, I was Chinatown, Little Italy, where I worked. So I remember taking a bus down to about Houston, and then from Houston I was walking. And back then we were wearing, I had earphones, right? And I'm listening to music and stuff on the way to work, when all of a sudden I see a whole bunch of people coming, looking out the windows, and they're staring up in the sky. And so I take off my earphones, and I found out some lady said, well, I think a helicopter hit the World Trade Center. So I was like, oh shit, what else is new? And I just kept walking. But when I got to Canal Street, and I believe that was Broadway and Canal. When I got there, I saw the building. Everybody was staring up at the building, and from far away. And there was a big hole in the building, and there was fire coming out of the building. And man, I stood there the whole time, watched. I was seeing people actually jumping, even from there, from Canal Street. You could see it, and you could see people jumping from the top floor, and it was awful. It was awful. I didn't walk down to where the World Trade Center was. Of course not. I would not do that. That's ridiculous. Why would I? But what I did was, we were bringing people in to our jewelry exchange, and we were cleaning them up, taking the blood off of them. Everybody was covered in white dust. Their whole face was all, and people, these are men in suits, women, they're all screaming, and we're bringing them inside to our exchange, and we're wiping them down with water and bandaging them up. And yep, I saw the whole thing. Then afterwards, I saw when the building came down. It was really, really bad. It was awful. I mean, people just went berserk at that point. I ran home. I had to walk to 23rd Street because there's no buses, no subways, nothing running at that time. And I remember at that time, my son wasn't born yet. My son's 20 years old now, but he wasn't born then. But I was with my ex at that time, and she was coming from work from Brooklyn on the express bus. She was living with me on 23rd Street, first in New York City. And the bus backed out of the tunnel, the Midtown Tunnel, and went back into Brooklyn. And it wasn't the Midtown Tunnel. I forgot that tunnel. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And New York City was locked down for 2 or maybe 3 weeks. I can't remember right now. I didn't see her for 3 weeks because she couldn't come to New York City. It was locked down, and I couldn't escape from New York City. It was actually locked down. All the bridges, they were not allowing people to pass over the bridges for a long, long period of time. And I lived across the street from a bunch of hospitals. I had NYU, Bellevue Hospital, which the world famous Bellevue Hospital was only couple blocks away from where I live. And for 2.5 weeks, all day long, 24 hours a day, there was a line of ambulances from 23rd Street to 27th Street, where Bellevue ends. and they're coming in, waiting their turn to get into the hospital, and it was chaos. My apartment smelled like dead people, smelled like fire, smelled like chemicals. It's incredible that I didn't get sick until this point. Thank God, knock on wood. I didn't get infected. I mean, sick from all that bad breathing, all that bad air. But yeah, that was 9/11 in New York City, and I saw it there. I lived through it for 2.5 weeks. Afterwards, I did go down to see what happened. Of course, you couldn't get too close, but from far away, you could see basically the building down, and a lot of people working there, and police all over the place. I got down there because I had a bicycle. Without a bicycle, like I said, there was no public transportation, and you weren't allowed to use your own personal car on the streets. Okay, because I did have a vehicle, but you're not allowed. So that's what happened in 9/11, and I'll never forget that, guys. Let's hope it doesn't happen again. Our country's in a lot of trouble. A lot of things are happening. Today I looked at a few news articles here about CDBC. They're starting this stuff in Brazil. Yeah, Brazil is a communist country already. They're going against the United States with the BRICS. Not using American money any longer. And soon it's going to be coming to our country. Once it happens here, we're screwed. Once they take away our paper, even though the paper money's worthless because there's no gold behind it. But once they implement that CDBC, excuse me, we're in trouble. And so the other thing that's happening is in New York, all these migrants that are coming over, they have nowhere to stay now. They're not staying in the luxury hotels any longer because there's too many of them. And now they're sleeping in the streets. Mayor Adams is bugging out, and he's saying it's going to destroy New York City, and that's all done on purpose. They know. That's why the border's open. That way they could have an excuse to implement martial law someday, And how will they implement it? Homeless people in the streets, the new virus that they're going to hit us with coming this October. So you guys only got 1 month left to start preparing. Remember what happened last time? There was no water. You couldn't find a mask, and without a mask, you couldn't go anywhere. So, although I'm a person that, I'm not going to get masked, but just in case it's an emergency and I have to go into a public place, and they won't allow me, then I'll have no choice. I'll have to put the mask on for that. So get what you need to get, guys, because this new virus that's coming out, it's going to kill a lot of people. And they're already starting to do the lockdown. In New York City, the police department, on the top of the cars, it says wear a mask. Okay? And although we know that masks don't work, it doesn't help. So, when you're in trouble, they're not going to come to help you. Look what happened in Hawaii. All those poor people lost their homes. It was all done on purpose, guys. Got lasers. I believe it's not conspiracy no more. Everything's not conspiracy any longer. Over there in New Mexico, the governor, she suspended the Second Amendment. Gun ban. What? Are you kidding me? That's just the beginning, guys. That's a test. Everything's a test. And not to mention what's happening in overseas with World War II. World War III, excuse me. Think of World War II. World War III, and that crazy Kim Jong-un. He wants to be China's little pit bull. And, you know, he's the trigger guy. He's going to meet Vladimir Putin very soon so they could swap some weapons and, you know, for food, I guess, and plan their attack against us. So that's basically what they're doing. China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran. So we got to pray for our country, guys. Got to pray for the future of our children. You guys need to toughen up. If you guys got kids, don't just go on with your daily lives and ignore what's happening. Sooner or later, we have to stand up. We have no choice because we're going to lose it all. We're going to lose our freedom. You know, look, I'm watching right there. Bioengineered food. That's another thing. All the food that they're making now is bioengineered, and it's made to kill people. So they're killing us any way they can, in every way they can. You know, between viruses, open borders, world war. They're trying to start a fight here in our country, civil war. This crazy election that's coming up. They're probably not going to allow Donald Trump to run for presidency. And who knows, Joe Biden against what? Kennedy? He got Kennedy, and he's got, what's the other? Gavin Newsom and the crazy Kamala. But they might take him out before that. Put Kamala in there. That way they could say, hey, we have the first female president. And then they'll start the war to keep her there. And then they'll bring in Newsom afterwards to finish destroying everything. Who knows? All I know is we need to pray because times are getting crazy, guys. XNYC Pepper over and out. Have a good night, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button if you feel like it. If you don't, then don't do it. But if you do, I appreciate it. Take it easy, guys.